India's advancement in economic and social spheres is forging a new paradigm for global development.
Make in India आज समय की मांग है.
We are enjoying a continuum of growth, progress and tradition.
India is on the move.
And with the unwavering certainty of a bold vision, we've propelled India onto an unstoppable path. Our economy is constantly renewing and reinventing, putting India in a globally enviable position. And a meticulously outlined political agenda will strengthen our regional and global clout. Presenting the 4th edition of the Times Now Summit, the confluence of leading policymakers, strategists, experts and influencers shaping India's unstoppable growth. Only on the Times Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an engaging discussion towards how India is navigating towards a brighter future on the road. So please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Senior Executive Director of Marketing and Sales of Maruti Suzuki India, Shashank Srivastava.
Today, where is Maruti? I mean, Maruti has traveled such a long journey with tremendous amount of, I think, kudos to the kind of changes you've made over time. Where does Maruti today stand? How do you see at this journey? And how has Maruti also changed with your thinking?
Yeah, so it's been a remarkable journey, I must say, because when we started in the early 80s, the Indian market was just about 50,000 units a year. Today, this market is 300,000 a month. It's this year it is expected, and we are just a few days away from the closure of the fiscal year, will be 42.3 lakhs. So from 50,000, the journey to 42.3 lakh shows that there has been a huge change, not just in Maruti, but the entire scenario of mobility, transportation, vehicles, in motorization in our country. So when Maruti started, the GDP per capita was about $400. Today it is like closer to 3,000. The penetration of cars per 1,000 population was about 2. Today it is about 36. There was hardly any road infrastructure, especially in the smaller areas. Those have changed. There was no localization, very few components were being made. But today it is, we have 96% localization in Maruti Suzuki. If you see the other aspects, also whether it is in terms of the capacity itself, we have a capacity of close to 22 lakhs, going up to 10 more lakh in the next year and further in the next few years by another 10 lakhs. So we should go up to 40 lakhs. There was no export of vehicles from our country. Today Maruti exports this year probably close to 300,000 vehicles, which is like $2 billion only from Maruti Suzuki. So things have changed dramatically, and of course consumers have changed too. They've become very experimentative. No longer is it about functionality for buying the products, it's about aspiration. And that, I believe, is the biggest change. The aspiration of India is, I believe, the biggest change that has happened. And that is reflected in the cars which we purchase, in the products that we aspire for, and of course in the volumes that you see in the different industries.
And though, Shashank, you're making it sound very simple, but I think there is this dichotomy that people always think. Maruti has a lot of reputation. There is such a brand recall, dependability, people trust it. The first car has to be a Maruti. Now, with the market opening up, with the kind of players we've had, and like you yourself said, at a point, cars were more about functionality till they became also aspirational. You have a new generation that is looking at multiple features, things keep moving, new players keep coming in. So to have that, tightrope balancing act of sticking with that brand value, that reputation, safety, and still be, forward-looking. How does that happen?
Yeah, so beautiful question, because that's one of the big problems Maruti Suzuki has been grappling with. The Maruti Suzuki has been known for, as you said, dependability, reliability, value for money, low maintenance cost, great network, and so on. That is, of course, great for people who are looking for functionality. I remember in all these years, the Indian consumer has not been so experimentative. So these are the values which any consumer was looking for: fuel efficiency, low maintenance cost. And as Indian economy grew and our GDP grew, income levels grew, disposable income grew, aspiration came in. And we saw India, the new India. It is younger, more tech savvy, more aspirational. So in our automobile world, we started looking at two different sets of consumers. One is what we call Bharat, which still has a very high percentage weightage when it comes to buying criteria on functionality, on fuel efficiency, maintenance, etc. But there is also India, the young India. So you have to cater to both, because India is getting bigger and Bharat also continues to expand. So you have to do both. You can't do it with one brand.
Shashank, when you say this, because I also personally believe that we all learn from our challenges. Now, clearly this journey that you've taken over, trying to ensure that there is this balance between safety, dependability, and, matching the future with it, it doesn't come without challenges. Now, what have been the kind of challenges, and more so when you speak about both Bharat and India, trying to unite all of them together under that Maruti brand? How has that happened?
Yeah, so very challenging, because as you can imagine, we are a legacy brand. We have been in the industry 40 years, and it is not easy to change that image. That image is also very good. It's not a bad image. It's actually very positive. So if you talk to other brands, they'll say, we would love to have that Maruti Suzuki image of reliability, of value, and so on. But we also have to take care of the changing technologies, the changing consumer itself. In fact, the process of buying itself is changing. You have ownerships changing now. People looking for subscription, people looking at shared mobility, people looking at part ownership, and so on and so forth. So we have to constantly evolve, and that has been the biggest challenge. So the digitalization which has happened, which we have embraced in a big way, it requires, first of all, a big mindset change. And that's what we have tried to develop in our organization, a culture for embracing that change. Because, as you said, one of my favorite quote is, if you are finished changing, then you are finished.
So how more is Maruti as a brand also willing to change? What is the future looking like? And when you talk of what's going on today, you have automatic transmissions, we are talking of hybrid, we are talking of EVs. What, according to you, Shashank, say is the road ahead for the next 5 years for both India and Bharat? I mean, do you see them merging anywhere on this road?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think most of people would know here, there's a lot of urbanization that's happening, and that's also changing the landscape. It is said that the ratio of urban to rural incomes, which is currently 1.8, will become 1.4 in a few years' time. We also see larger connectivity coming through. So there is a development of good infrastructure, physical as well as digital, in our country, not only in urban areas, but in rural areas as well. That is why the rural sales now in the industry, roughly 35%. For Maruti Suzuki, almost 44%. So there is a huge change, and there is a convergence which is happening. And therefore it is becoming very important to identify what will be that final convergence be.
Popular sentiment is also changing?
Yeah, sure thing. One of the things which have changed is the preference for body types. So the body type of SUV is much more preferred these days. In fact, for this year, I just mentioned 4.2 million will be the sale in the passenger vehicles, out of which 50%, that is more than 2 million, will be SUVs. And people buy it for different reasons. It's practical, it's got a high ground clearance. In Indian roads, it's definitely better. You have interior space which is more flexible because of the shape. It's not a 3-box like a sedan. It's got a good driving position. You feel you are owning the road and you are like having some sort of a status. People buy it for status as well. So SUVs have become very popular. That is one type of change. Then there is a change in terms of the powertrain. People are looking at more sustainability, for example. So if you see, and governments too, governments are also making emission standards more strict. Therefore, you have EVs, you have hybrids, you have CNG. Those powertrain choices are also changing. There is a change in the, if you speak demographically, there are more women buyers. The average age of car buying has come down. So all these factors are happening simultaneously. And a marketer has to make sense of all those changes and accordingly position his products and his brand in the market.
Now, because you've poked me and you've spoken about women, I wonder whether the, women present in the hall how many women would still want a Maruti, That's also, I think, because when I was picking up my first car, I discussed with my friends and a lot of other people, and everyone is like, for girls, though, it has to be Maruti, because that is the safest car on road. Now, over the years, because you see that pattern also changing, with the market also opening up, automatic transmission, a lot of other things. And I do remember the first learner car also I think I was driving was also a Maruti. So those are the memories, Shashank, that we've lived with. What today is your nostalgic or your anecdote moments when you look back at all these years, your favorite memory of a Maruti?
No, so when you talked about women buyers, actually you are right, and statistically also I can confirm that. Whereas in the industry, the penetration of women buyers is roughly 8%. But in case of Maruti, it is almost like 14-15%. There are some models where Maruti Suzuki, in some models, the penetration of women buyers is as high as 25%. Of course, we are way away from some of those more developed countries, where actually, like in US or even in Japan, the majority buying is by women. So there are more than 50% buyers are women. But you see more women in the workforce, which is great. They have more independence, which is great. They are driving more, which is also great. And therefore, their opinion of the cars have also become very important. It is no longer that earlier that all technology car will be that image that you have, the stereotypical image, that it will be males who will decide the technology and the choice of car, but the color may be decided by the women. That was the sort of biased stereotyping, but it's not true anymore. They are like not only an important section or segment of the buyers, they are having a huge influence on car buying. If you talk of anecdotes and what all memories, of course, I have been in this industry for a long time. This is also my first job, so after college. So I've seen the ups and downs. And of course, very good memories. I remember in factory when we used to produce 600 cars on any particular day, we used to have a samosa day. Samosas were distributed because people said कि आज तो छक्का पड़ा है, it's a 6 today, so 600. But today we are making 6,000 cars every day. So when you look back at those days, these really give you some satisfaction. When I remember the first export that Maruti Suzuki made, it was to in 1 year to Hungary and Bangladesh. But today we are exporting almost 300,000 cars across the world. Europe, Latin America, Middle East. It shows how much quality has improved in the sense of acceptability of brands from India in cars has increased greatly. I remember those days when some of our people on supply chain used to get components in the cars at night so that they can run the lines the next day. But now we have very advanced logistics, because the volumes are so huge and we have technologies which are enabling us to maximize efficiencies and an execution of very large volumes. So yes, it has been great memories. Maruti Suzuki, by the way, is the only company I know which has been the market leader, which has been in this industry 40 years and the market leader from first year till today. So that's a huge, I think, achievement. And we are very proud of that.
Shashank, where is the future taking us towards? Where is Maruti headed? What are your new plans, new ideas that you can discuss with all of us?
So Maruti is headed in the right direction. That is, I can confirm. But the future is going to be a lot more digitalized with the technology that is available. We have great, number of sensors now, which are low cost. Therefore, you can collect a lot of data of different parameters in a car. So you will see that data collection on cars, the parameters is going to be huge. Then we have a technology of connectivity now, which means that you have a much better latency, which is the speed at which data. And then on top of it, you have great edge computing. Edge computing means you can do locally as well as connected with the cloud a lot of interactions, or quick calculations, or data churning, or data analytics. So I think we are going in that direction in terms of the availability of technology, the connectivity, the edge computing. Also, I tell you, these are all being used for quality, for example. I'll give you an example in our weld shops. We have almost 1.8 meter of beaded welds. It's very, very accurate. Otherwise, the body strength won't be there. The quality, build quality won't come through. We have 38 robos which do that. And we collect that data and make sure that the quality is good. Because this reliability, failure, prevention of failure all comes from those basic things of quality that you do, which people don't see. But if you go to our weld shop, for example, you see those robos, they are giving that very accurate welding spots, which is ultimately leading to great quality. So I think going in that direction, and in terms of people themselves, they will become more aspiration. The criteria of buying is shifting from functionality to aspiration. So design is becoming very important. A lot of features are being considered very important when people buy a car. So whether it is HUD, which is the heads-up display, or the sunroof, or the automatic transmission, as you said, all these things will become very important. You're looking at data where you can predict the quality, the maintenance scheduling, which is predictive maintenance, basis the data that you collect from the connectivity of the car.
Nitin Gadkari, the Minister of Road Transport and Highways, recently had spoken about a proposal where he said that the tax levied on hybrid vehicles in India possibly could be reduced from the current 48 to 12. Do you see that as viable, that this could boost demand? And how would you also then broaden your portfolio?
Yeah, so we have hybrid vehicles. We have two vehicles which are strong hybrids, which is the Invicto and the Grand Vitara. Currently, there are very few hybrid vehicles in our country. So there are, I think, 5 or 6 across the industry. EVs, there are about 14 or 15. But the penetration of EVs, and EVs are at 5% GST, 12 and 43% GST is on hybrid. So if you look at the penetration, it is roughly similar. Yeah, as many EVs are being sold as hybrids. And I think the reason for that is that people have realized that hybrids are also adding to sustainability because they give great fuel efficiency. And at the same time, you don't have the range anxiety because they charge by themselves. So whenever you use a brake, that regenerative energy charges the battery, which and you get the experience of driving a EV 40-50% of the time. And an urban cycle, you will see hybrids working on the battery mode, which means that you have a very silent and a very uniform torque sort of drive, which is great.
This is a favorite question because when I read this, I had to kind of, look at videos to find out, oh damn, this is also possible. From the ground to the sky, the future that all of you are aiming at. Now, this is called SkyDrive. Imagine if you could actually take a car. Ladies and gentlemen, you're sitting in this room, can you imagine Delhi or Bengaluru or Hyderabad, Chennai without traffic? So imagine a scenario when your car is going to be airborne. So we are talking of something that is smaller than a helicopter. It's bigger than a drone, can carry 3 people, I think. I've seen those videos. they're unbelievable, Shashank. Is that the future? And why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, possibly, because you will see new technologies coming. At the moment, of course, very expensive, but clearly, like Suzuki has gone ahead with this collaboration for the Sky Drive, which is like pure electric. It takes you for some distance, beats the traffic. Bangalore, of course. The other day I was in Bangalore, so yeah. So it's like I'm glad I'm in Delhi. Till I come to Delhi, then I feel that it could be better. But it is great because you can have a technology which takes you point A to point B very efficiently. Of course, as it improves and when the penetration increases, the traffic also in the air becomes an issue, but obviously that is a long way off, of course.
But that's a good and a happy note to end this conversation on. Only for what of time, Shashank. It's been a fascinating conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.